So the grid for the second final for DD2 Masters. Tom Dessert from Belgium starts on pole position with Great Britain's Tamsin Germain alongside in the 525. Michael Becker from Germany and France's Rudy Champion. That is row number 2 in the numbers 526 and 544 respectively. Alessandro Glauser from Switzerland and Marco Schulp representing New Zealand. Who isn't actually showing up on the timing at the moment, so there's no green dot on the timing screen against the 533, so have decided to call it a day. Roland Kinch and Tanju Yildiz from Great Britain and Germany respectively. Those are the drivers in 7th and 8th position. Andreas Schindler and Christoforos Gratsias from Greece. That is the completion of the top 10. Been a difficult weekend in the office for debacker Karl Klebolt in the 510 from Buvin Power. He's in front of Christoph Adams in the treble 5 with Sebastian Rumpelhardt and James Beecroft in the 509 representing Germany and the 517 representing Great Britain. 14 minutes are now set on the timer, set to start counting down when the red light on the gantry does go out and face to black once more before we have our two final action-packed extravaganzas in both junior and senior Rotax this afternoon. So good to see that we've got Maurizio Pilotto, Christoph Leinen back on the stream as well, Junior Schleich, one of the team at Camp Company GmbH, good to see her watching as well, Jack Jones. I think I've even seen Tony Hogg now racing out of the UAE, if memory serves me correctly. I think, Tony, you've raced in the BNL quite a few times yourself. So plenty of action to take place over the next 14 minutes plus an additional lap. I'm really hoping that Tanju Yildiz has a bit more of luck. He was running as high as 4th position in the earlier race when we had about 5 competitors drop off due to mechanical issues or technical difficulties where the drivers would just have to park it into the pit lane, or in that case sometimes get a black flag, mechanical black flag infringement. So Dessert and Germain will now be the ones controlling the pace as they head into the right-hander at turn number 10 as everyone gets themselves ship-shape and Bristol fashion in 2x2 rolling start formation. So Dessert, Germain, Becker, Champion, Glauser, Schelp, Kinch, Yildiz, Schindler, Grazias, Klebolt, Adams, Rumpelhardt and Beecroft. That is your grid. Looks like we've got 13 on the asphalt here as they're told to slow. They head into the tram lines. 4-1 final time. The Rotax Max engines. When will they gun them? They gun them now. We get the lights out. Starters orders and off and away we go, heading into turn 1. Tamsin Germain round the outside, down into what looks to be 2nd or 3rd, maybe even 4th at this particular moment as Champion threads the needle through into turn 2, up into P3 already as Germain now drops down, looks to be possibly 4th, 5th, as it's 3 abreast. Someone goes grass tracking coming out of turn number 4. And this is absolutely dynamite starts from all of our competitors, as some of the drivers having a bit too much looks like a bit of steam as they go through the standing water puddle on the inside of turn number 6 for the first time of asking. But now it is a battle at the front of the field. Dessert not leading at the minute. I've got a suspicion that's going to be one of 2 drivers, and looking at that colour scheme, it might be Michael Becker that is side by side heading down into turn 10. Dessert on the inside keeps the lead for the moment, but Becker definitely hot on the heels. Champion bumps the curbs. Oh, that is not good for the Frenchman. Bumped him, spanning 180 degrees the wrong way, and Tamsin Germain manages to get through safely to retake 3rd position, but now that drops Champion right down to the back part of the field. And he nearly rejoined in the view of traffic, and that could have been a lot worse if anyone had clattered into him. So Champion now will start getting past drivers, the first of which is Tanju Yildiz, who is now down at the back part of the field. As the drivers, they're actually properly launching the front nacelle plates of these carts over the curbs as Champion did. Let's just have a look. Now, this is the back end of it, where he's gone spinning, he's gone backwards. Let's just see what he does now. He turns straight away. Oh, that was half the depth of a front bumper from being having his front bumper ripped off the kart. And then he would have been given a mechanical black flag. That was incredibly close for Rudy Champion. So now we have a bit of a juggle of the order. Dessert now has a lead of 0.7 of a second over Michael Becker, as now we have nearly a side-by-side up into... Now that is the 5.09 of Sebastian Rumpelhardt from Germany, now ahead of Tanju Yildiz. Schelp unfortunately wasn't on starter, hence the fact why we had 13 transponders cross the start-finish line. So at the minute, it is Dessert leading Becker by 2.154 seconds. And at the moment, this is going to be quite close. If Dessert gets a perfect score of 50, Tamsin Germain currently on 20 points. That will put her on 36. And also 36 for Michael Becker, who's actually up into second position, but got third at the end of the first race. And on countback, we've seen it before that in the regulations, it depends on the last result is the one that is the tiebreaker. So if that is the case, that Tamsin Germain will miss out on the runner-up step on the rostrum and will end up third at the end of the weekend. But there is still plenty of this race still to go. 10.5 minutes plus an additional lap here to go at the second final for DD2 Masters. And it's side-by-side heading into turn 10 once more, and that is Gracias from Greece leading the way in 7th position ahead of Christophe Adams from he's representing France this weekend. I've sometimes seen him under a Belgian flag, so I don't know whether it's Belgium or France, but I'm sure Christophe will enlighten me at some point. But in many respects, a good move up the inside into what is spin from Andreas Schindler at the end, at the middle part of turn 2. And he's waiting to get going, and as the kart bogged down, not too sure, but that is a disaster for Schindler, who was trying to go past Tamsin Germain, I believe, there. So Schindler on the back foot, dropping all the way back down to the bottom part of the order, and he was there for quite a time too. So he's now managed to regain his all four wheels. Let's just have a look here. Okay, now that is the 5.17 of James Beecroft, and I think it looks like that Schindler just lost the back end himself. And, you know, the slightest touch on the throttle, and you spool up the rear wheels, and then all of a sudden, you get a major problem in the fact that you've got no traction. So Schindler, now on the back foot, that drops him down quite significantly down the order, as everyone is just trying to make sure that they get to the end of this race. And there was a move from Karl Klebot on Roland Kinch for what was effectively, I think, 7th position, or it could have been 6th, depending as we've got. I think I did briefly see yellow flags at Marshall Post number 1 there. So Karl Klebot actually gets past as there is Andreas Schindler. You could just see the amount of steering correction that he's having to do trying to get through these corners, as a lot of drivers are. So, and I think that might have just been that Gracias might have lost out a couple of positions to Rumpelhardt and also Christophe Adams. Now here comes Karl Klebot, the backer as he's more commonly known now. When I gave him that nickname at the Grand Finals, the fastest baker in Flanders, it rolls off the tongue, but it isn't quite good in a commentary perspective when you're talking about a lot of action, especially if it's high-paced. And great to see that the DD2 Masters never fails to disappoint. Rudy Champion down in 13th and Stone dead last at the moment. A real shame for the Frenchman, the 2020 Winter Cup winner. So he unfortunately won't be having that opportunity to get an entry ticket to Le Mans, where very shortly they will be open. Another quick reminder for all drivers, for those that have competed in their last finals, you can go to the information office at the info unit after your last finals so you can get your race licenses there. You'll need to pick them up before you go home. We will have our podium celebration at around about 5:20 this afternoon. Try and get that done as quickly as possible. We know that everyone does need to get home to the comfort of their own beds. It's been a long weekend, and now with everything going on with the weather, it's very, very difficult indeed to keep the cold away. And I'm just keeping an eye on what's been happening a little bit further down the order. That Alessandro Glauser from Switzerland has just been having a battle with Andreas Schindler, who has something very, very novel on his race helmet. I don't know if anyone else has spotted it, that it actually helps to provide a bit of brightness, a bit of colour. From a clay pigeon shooting terminology, if you need to see the targets in particular, you'll have a set of yellow lens glasses. And this application is also true in motorsport. If you look at Augusto Farfus, who's a works BMW driver, and he will normally wear these glasses at night or during the day, or if it's in adverse conditions. And what it does is it actually provides a bit more clarity. You're able to see things a little bit clearer through that. So forgive the fact that it's a bit different, but it probably works for Andreas. So he's got that in front of his visor at the moment. Right, we're now coming down to the last 5 minutes and 45 seconds. Running order at the moment as Rudy Champion has now officially retired. Tom Dessert leading ahead of Michael Becker. And now James Beecroft has made his way up into second. He's actually made his way up into third position past Tamsin Germain, which means that at the moment Dessert is on a perfect score at the minute and will head to Le Mans later on this coming July. Michael Becker is currently in second position, putting him on 20 points, and that will be 36 to his credit, with Tamsin Germain running at the top three with a total of 33 points to her credit after a weekend, a day's racing here at Karting Genk. Christoph Adams has been a bit on the move, the 14-time Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals participant as of last year. Started down in 12th position, now is up into 5th and is 2.6 seconds ahead of Carl Klebot, who started alongside him and actually in front of him on row number 6 just a few moments ago. Grazias from Greece started 10th, now in 7th place. Good work from Roland Kinch, who started 7th and is just a position down from that in P8. Tanyul Yildiz from Germany started P8, now in P9. Andreas Schindler now in 10th position, 43.3 seconds off of the current leader. Alessandro Glauser down in 11th, having started in P5. Sebastian Rumpelhardt is a little bit further down than he would like to be and is currently in 12th position, the last of the 14 drivers that were due to take part in this race, but obviously with Marco Schelp being a non-starter and Rudy Champion retiring on lap number 4. Fastest lap at the moment has been set by Tom Dessert from Belgium, a 1 minute 14.571. He's just put in a 1 minute 15.170, 29.6 second sector number 1. Becker puts in a 30.1 himself. Beecroft does the same as Andreas Schindler crosses the line and puts in his best lap time of the week, his second final, a 1 minute 16.158. So Dessert takes in a 22.6 second sector. Becker 6/10 adrift. Beecroft sets the purple in sector 2, as does Tamsin Germain. And Tamsin is, I think, might be starting to close, or try to close. She's going to do her level best. 30.2 for her in sector 1. A 1 minute 16.535. That's her best lap of the race. Let's see if she goes any better. She does. That's a good lap from Tamsin. A 1 minute 16.366. And in the meantime of that happening, a 1 minute 15.705 from James Beecroft, who's been running with the Sodi Vitesse crew this weekend, with Mark Barrett leading the operation. So they've been running James in DD2 Masters with the new 2020 DD2 chassis, with Mark's son Bradley running in Sodi on the Sodi new Sigma chassis for 2020, and is running in senior Rotax, and he's been pretty quick with that Sodi chassis this weekend, and also all the way through the past few weeks, which included the Trent Valley Kart Club Winter Series last weekend at Paul Fletcher International, where the Euro Trophy will be heading on the 10th to the 12th of July this year. And also a good side of things with regards to Campios, where both he and Charlie Turner, who I know is watching at home, so wish you were here, Charlie. Would have been good to have you with us. Hopefully we'll see you soon. He was also quite racy at Karting Campios, and I know that Martin Roivers, part of the team there in Andalusia, is watching along, or has been watching this weekend. We go into the last 60 seconds, plus an additional lap, and it has been a pretty simple task in Tom Dessert's eyes to keep ahead of the field, and now is 8.5 seconds ahead of Michael Becker from Germany in the number 5.26. James Beecroft rounds out the top three ahead of Tamsin Germain. Beecroft sets a best effort in sector number 1 of 29.6 sector, as does Michael Becker, but who is only 0.2 of a second slower. So into the last few seconds we go, as that looks to be that Tom Dessert has now started the penultimate lap of this race. We're now on to lap number 12. As 14 minutes now officially expires. That is it for DD2 Masters here at Karting Genk for the BNL Karting Series kickoff. And in many respects, it's been, I'm sure, that very shortly when a certain Belgian in the number 530 sees the checkered flag in just over a lap and a half's time, it will be like the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland, that grin being from ear to ear. And in many respects, it's been a good day, despite the weather trying to throw a spanner in the works for Tom Dessert from Belgium, but it has been, they say, leave no stone unturned, and that is definitely the case. The last lap board now being prepared, as Tom Dessert will now see that, gets the sign that he needs to move forward and just push for just under 1,200 metres as he goes through turn 2 for the final time this race weekend. Blue flag's being waved, and that is for Sebastian Humpelhart, who has, I think, someone just behind. Which, well, I've got Glauser there, but that was Michael Becker. So Alessandro Glauser was being waved the blue flag in his general direction. Michael Becker in second. James Beecroft, Tamsin Germain, and Christoph Adams. And Christoph Adams has just gone in and put in a sub-65 second lap on that particular occasion, just ahead of Karl Klibort in the 5.10, who's also put in his best effort. Grazias from Greece, Kinch from Great Britain, Yildiz and Schindler round out the top 10. But now let's concentrate on our leader. It's been a weekend that some might want to forget for the weather. But for Belgium's Tom Dessert, who now comes towards the final corner at the home of champions, he's going to become a kickoff champion in the BNL Karting Series, because provisionally speaking, he does the double. He heads to Le Mans in late July for the Rotax Max Challenge International Trophy. And round the final corner, it's Michael Becker who provisionally takes second in the kickoff standings this very weekend. Started third, finished in second place. James Beecroft started in 14th and made it up So third at the flag, ahead of Tamsin Germain, who was in the running for what was going to transpire. She ended up fourth at the end of it all, and third in the overall standings, provisionally speaking, ahead of Christoph Adams, Karl Klibort, Christoforos Gratsias from Greece. Then we should have Roland Kinch coming around very shortly to complete his last lap of the race, which he does so now. And Tanya Yildiz from Germany was hunting him down like a wolf pack leader to try and came to within about 0.6 of a second at the flag, with Andreas Schindler rounding out the top 10. Alessandro Glauser and Sebastian Rumpelhardt, both representing Switzerland and Germany respectively, round out the 12 strong finishers on this, with Rudi Champion unfortunately retiring on lap number 4, with Marco Schelp representing New Zealand not finishing the race.